is decrying an increase in mental health cases among teachers. Kiambu County Kuppet chairperson Rose Kiiru says that the family unit has been dealt a blow, with calls for counseling programs to salvage the situation.
We must safeguard our mental health. We must protect it jealously, because once your mental health is compromised, you cannot perform as a woman, you cannot perform as a teacher, you cannot perform as a mother, you cannot perform as a wife, and you cannot also perform vice versa as a husband.
The teachers' union is also lamenting an increase in drug abuse among teachers, saying that disciplinary action will be taken against those found culpable.
We had to hunt for a teacher in a club in Rari one time. Very early in the morning, the teacher was being interdicted. And now we had to beg with the sub-county director, please don't release that letter. Now you can imagine where we traced the teacher, he was already intoxicated. Bangi haitai kutoka pahali kufuate, niwe unaitafuta. So some of these abuses that we are talking about, let us accept that they are our own making.
Any teacher who was delocalized or has been delocalized and wishes to come back home, let the name be sent to us and let him do the formalities of doing the online application.
Our negotiation is centered on getting between 30 to 70%. That those people who are not properly remunerated in the 2016-2021 must now be considered 70 in that continuum.
Elsewhere, Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Kuppet has welcomed plans by the government to do away with delocalization of teachers. Speaking in Kericho during the county annual general meeting, Kuppet National Vice Treasurer Ronald Tonui also called on TSC to look into the promotion of teachers, as some had stagnated in the same job group for years.
These are people who are serving the people direct on the ground, the student, and they need to be treated very, very well.
Kwa hivyo utapata kwamba walimu wametunishwa na hawana pesa ile ambayo wale wengine wenye idara mbalimbali wanapata.
Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
And still keeping up with matters education, the Director of Public Prosecution, Nudin Haji, has urged Garissa residents to encourage their children to take up teaching as a profession to address teacher shortage in the area. Haji, who hails from Garissa, said as long as the local community shies away from the profession, the region will continue experiencing teacher shortage.
1979, it is a mixed integrated.
Speaking in Garissa during the launch of Young Muslim Girls High School, the Director of Public Prosecution Nudin Haji added his voice to calls by leaders in northeastern Kenya on locals to take up the teaching profession in order to bridge the gap that currently exists in the region.
Lakini kama tunaweza kutrain walimu waweze kwenda kufundisha early childhood, basi tutakuwa na watoto ambayo wako na foundation mzuri sana. Na mimi ningependa kuhimiza, tafadhalini wazazi, mujaribu kuwahimiza watoto wetu wakuwe walimu. Tuna shida sana northeastern yote kwa mambo ya walimu.
Haji urged parents to encourage their children to take up teaching, saying the region's progress is suffering as a result of shortage of teachers.
Juzi tulikuwa na watu ya TSC wanasema hakuna walimu ya kutosha, hata kama tumepewa as northeastern na north special allowances, hakuna watu wanataka kusoma wala kuwa walimu, na hiyo itaturudisha nyuma sana. Kwa hivyo naomba tutafute namna ya kuhakikisha kwa hii program ya Young Muslim kufundisha watu yetu na kuwa encourage.
Teacher shortage in the region was worsened in 2014 by attacks on non-local teachers by Al-Shabaab militia, forcing them to flee the region. And Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers officials have called on the government to roll out new policies to implement memorandums signed between the government and the unions on behalf of teachers in the country.
We want to expand. We want an education system which will ensure that our students will fit into society and the economy. And that can only happen if the government supports CPC. The biggest problem is underfunding.
Kupet Deputy SG Moses Nturima, while speaking in Isiolo County during the annual general meeting with teachers, revealed in the memorandum signed with Kenya Kwanza before the August elections, among other conditions, was the increment of teachers' salaries.
Our expectation as a union is that the TSC will roll out sessions for negotiations, because the economy has improved, and for that reason the teachers cannot wait anymore.
And at about 13 minutes past 2, we are taking a quick break, but don't go away. We still have more news, including the latest in the World Cup preparations. Remember, next week on Sunday, the biggest global showpiece, soccer showpiece, will be aired right here on KBC Channel 1. I have those details on the other side of this break.
Heri ukwe maskini lakini ukwe mzima. Ukiwa na health nzuri, shukuru Mungu.
Some of them don't even understand the kind of sickness that they are suffering from. But thank you, because through Mama here, we have seen the hand of God.
Ashukuru, nilitibiwa, sasa naendelea kupona.
Lakini mlisupport, nikaweza kupona, sasa niko na raha. Mungu awabariki.
Nilikava kabisa, niko na furaha sana.
The only show that is transforming lives. Mungu akubariki na Mungu akuzidishie.
Ya kisi World Cup ni tamu. Hey! We, machama. Munataka kuenjoy World Cup? Bas, mumebika. KBC radio sote zinakotangazia hii World Cup ya Qatar. Alafu moja kwa moja tunachukuliwa baka mochi wa Qatar, ambapo sasa Channel 1 TV inakuonyesha World Cup vizuri. Ukiwa kwa nyumba, unatazama, una enjoy, unasikia raha. Go! Imepotea, go!
Welcome back to KBC Lunchtime News. We are glad you're watching. Let's move on. Countries have been advised to use the 4th generation HIV testing kits, which are key in shaping behavioral change. According to Dr. Kuku Apia, a medical scientist, the 4th generation test kit will bridge the gap in treatment as well as identify new infections, unlike the 3rd generation test kit. With Wamboya attended Nations HIV Delegate Summit and filed the following report.
Did you know that you can know your HIV status 14 days after getting infected?
Sometimes the antigen disappears.
Well, This is the latest innovation in the world of healthcare.
Many countries are using what they call the third generation test. That is an antibody test. And that test only becomes positive 21 days after you've contracted the HIV infection. But we have a test in Abbott, which is a fourth generation rapid test. So that test, you'll be able to diagnose a person with HIV from day 14. And these are finger prick tests that can be done within a few minutes.
At the closing of a two-day summit in Nairobi attended by delegates from 13 African nations, Dr. Kuku Apia, a medical scientist, said the fourth generation test kit is a milestone innovation that countries must adopt.
Person being positive a week earlier than the third generation. And that week is so critical because people who are in the very early stages of HIV are the ones that are transmitting the infection to other people because they don't know that they are HIV positive. And so they don't even adjust their behavior because it's still very early. You just acquired it 2 weeks ago. You wouldn't know that you've acquired it.
At the same time, patients with HIV have been urged to do viral load tests.
Everybody who is taking ARVs is supposed to have a test called a viral load test to see how much of virus is there in their body. And these are important things that have to happen.
Among the issues discussed at the summit were early HIV diagnosis and rapid testing for malaria, syphilis, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. Ruth Wamboy for Lunchtime News.
And in other news, that 2,000 people in informal settlements within Nairobi and its environs have benefited from food donations. The food donation program undertaken by Ananda Marga Mission is targeting poverty-stricken communities. The crisis being faced has been highly attributed to drought combined with high inflationary pressures and poverty.
The need to cushion Kenyans worst affected by drought remains high as the most severe drought in 40 years continues to drive food insecurity to alarming levels. To help tackle the crisis, Ananda Marga Mission has donated food to over 2,000 people from the informal settlements of Kawangware, Kibagare and Kangemi. According to the Ananda Marga Mission chairman Dinesh Kumar, the number of Kenyans suffering from hunger and who turn up every Sunday for aid has almost doubled since the COVID-19 outbreak, with the situation worsening due to the high cost of living.
Today we are serving almost 2,000 people. If we have the money, if we have the capacity, then it is your responsibility to take the poor. It is the responsibility to take care of your younger brothers and sisters. It is your duty to take care of the needy people.
Mimi naishi Kangemi. Siku ya leo tumekuja kusaidiwa na dada, na huwa sana sana tunasaidiwa kupitia kwake. Maisha yangu ni mzuri. Nikijiweka kwa wakati wenye tulikuwa na njaa, anisaidia sana upande wa unga, chakula, hata blanketi huwa anatusaidia nazo.
Elsewhere, a section of the less fortunate children in Kayole have benefited from a social protection program through food donations, mentoring sessions, and digital space training skills. While donating foodstuff to the Toto Angel Center in Nairobi, Njue Artificial Intelligence Solutions founder and managing director Humphrey Muchuma says the program seeks to encourage fostering and retention of such children in promoting human capital development.
We do a lot. We do a lot with the marginalized communities, youths that are disadvantaged, who do not have an opportunity to secure, formal employment. We do that, by providing training, providing career growth for them, so that they're able to secure something that is meaningful in employment.
The beneficiaries of the initiative are the orphaned, street and abandoned children aged between 3 and 13.
Yeah, it's our privilege to come and be a part of what's going on here, and what you're doing with the kids here is just an honor to come and give back to the community.
Hawa watoto program yenye wanapata kutoka hapa ni masomo na health na rehabilitation.
Reporting for Lunchtime News, I am Teresa Mutai.
Moving on, a human resource audit conducted in Garissa County has established discrepancies in the hiring of some county staff. While making the audit report public, Garissa Governor Nathif Jama revealed that at least 136 people were employed as directors, among other senior positions, without qualifications. The governor further disclosed that 100 people had been employed as drivers, despite the county having only 12 vehicles operational. Jama regretted that the county had been turned into a recruitment bureau, something that undermined its provision of essential services to the locals.
We found over 180 people employed as directors, deputy director and assistant directors. Only 44 of them hold the appropriate requirements in terms of documentation, such as requirement for degrees. We found about close to 100 people employed as drivers, and we only have about, say, 11 or 12 or so vehicles on the streets or up and running. No any budget, with no any request to the board, with no any advert by the board, with no any short listing, and with no any appointment, no documents in the files. Then, and the only thing is to find them in the payroll. Surely that is fraud. That is not employment. It is a completely abused payroll system, which therefore cannot be sustained.
Now, staff members of the Nairobi Milimani Environmental and Land Court, in conjunction with various environmentalists, undertook a tree planting exercise at Ngong Kahara Forest, where they planted more than 1,000 indigenous trees. The exercise was geared towards promoting environmental conservation and celebrating the 10 years of existence of the Environment Court. Environment stakeholders present encourage Kenyans to take up the collective responsibility of conserving the environment, especially at a time the country is facing erratic climate change.
Haja yetu ya kuja hapa leo ni kusherehekea miaka 10 ya koti yetu. Hii koti ilianzishwa mwaka wa 2012 kulingana na katiba, na ni mojawapo ya zile koti ambazo tunaita superior court katika nchi ya Kenya. Hapa ambapo tunapanda kwa Kiingereza inaitwa a water catchment area, ambapo kuna maji mengi ambayo inatoka hapa. Kwa hivyo tukipanda miti aina hii tunasaidia kuweka hiyo maji iwe hapa kwa muda mrefu.
Na the same way tunaendelea kuhimiza watu wa take care of the girls ambao tunafanya kazi nao hapa Kajiado. Tunawahimiza pia waendelee kukinga environment, wakikinga wasichana wetu. Na pia ukiangalia environment iko very connected environment iko connected with the girls that we work with, sababu kama sasa kuna wakati wa kiangazi, sababu we haven't taken good care of the environment. Girls are the ones who go fetching for water and stuff like that. So himizo langu ni kuwa watu wayakinge mazingira, take care of your environment, and the environment will dearly take care of you.
Let's now shift gears to sports. Portuguese national soccer team captain Cristiano Ronaldo could become the first male player to score at 5 separate World Cup finals. Elsewhere, Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers has confirmed that English midfielder James Maddison is fine after he was subbed off early against West Ham. The 2022 World Cup finals in Qatar will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and all KBC radio stations beginning on the 20th of this month to the 18th of December 2022. World Cup iko KBC.
You know what it is. Waits for referee Poular's whistle, composes himself, and scores.
Manchester United and Portuguese national soccer team forward Cristiano Ronaldo is set to make history if he scores a goal in this month's World Cup finals in Qatar. The 37-year-old has scored in each of the previous 4 editions since his World Cup debut in 2006.
Yeah, I spoke to our doctor just before coming to here, so he said he's fine. He hasn't trained a great deal since Everton. Just felt a little knock on his knee.
Minute with a knee injury. Elsewhere, Brazil national soccer team striker Neymar Jr. has admitted the Qatar 22 World Cup finals could be his last. The 30-year-old is unsure of featuring in the 2026 edition, especially after the Seleção coach Tite announced that he would be stepping aside after this year's finals. Neymar will be leading the South Americans in their quest for a 6th World Cup title. The World Cup finals will be broadcast live on KBC Channel 1 and all KBC radio stations beginning on the 20th of this month to the 18th of December 2022. World Cup Eco KBC.
You know what it is.
That's all we had for KBC Lunchtime News. Remember, after this weekend, all the leagues will be suspended to give way for World Cup, which begins next week on Sunday. And my director, who is Amos, is a big supporter of Chelsea. They lost yesterday. Arsenal goes to the break, being top of the league. Liverpool also had scrapped off some big win, as Manchester City also fell to Brentford. Well, that's all the time we had. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Bentro Njue. Lensa Odingo has been our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. Do have yourself a blessed Sunday afternoon.
Kupata mtumaini Mungu kama sikiza tuni yako, bonyeza *811 *815#.
Mtumaini Mwenyezi Mungu kwa moyo wako wote, wala usitegemee akili zako mwenyewe. Umtambue Mungu katika kila ufanyalo, naye atazinyosha njia zako.